Good morning. Good morning. I was looking at myself and trying to adjust my hair as the screen was saying, "You're live." Happy Wednesday. Good morning again. Uh, listen, it was a journey to get me on here this morning, but I kept thinking that I said this last week that I want to make sure I want to be intentional about showing up on live more days than not. So with today being Wednesday and I didn't go live Monday or Tuesday. I didn't go live yesterday or the day before. I was like, okay, you need to go live today. And I do have a full day. And so I was also thinking about trying to go live a little later on, but we are here. I am here right now and I feel really good. I wanted to just kind of riff a little bit about releasing what doesn't work because I have been intentionally, I've said this already, we are in the last 6.5 months of the year. There are things that I want to get done on there are things I want to accomplish before the end of this year. And so I have been um, being very intentional about getting really clear about what the things are that I want to get done. Really, it's mainly around a revenue goal, and I have been building a very clear picture for myself of what it take, like the steps to get there. When I say clear picture, I'm talking about also putting it in the calendar, right? Like putting for me, I need it on my calendar. I need time blocked out. And I will say that like AI is helpful in this way with helping to like create the landscape in terms of like what I need to be scheduling, when I need to be scheduling it, because I find that when I can I plan my days the night before, and if I am not intentional about like being specific around like, because I block out, I have time blocks. And if I'm not intentional about being specific about what I'm going to accomplish in those blocks, then it becomes, um, it's easy for me to just like move into or sway into something else. And so I have to be very intentional about really marking what I plan to do with my time. And so I'm doing that as I'm building out this plan. I'm reverse engineering a plan to hit a revenue goal. And it is stretching me. The goal is stretching me for sure. And I think that, it needs to do that because am really, I have given myself a deadline to make something shake or I need to pivot and do something else. And so I have, all these thoughts around like, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't, what if no one, you know, buys into the vision? What if, I don't have any clients or customers, anything like that? And I'm really having to be very intentional about guarding my mind, about really being mindful of my thoughts. Like those things come up and it's reality. Like those are very real thoughts. I'm not trying to have like toxic positivity around the fact like those are legit concerns for me. Some of them are maybe more rational than others. But um, I'm doing all I can in my power to intentionally activate and move towards these goals. And I'm also trusting God with what I can't do. But I know that there is a lot within my realm of possibility that I can handle. And so I am trying to really create the conditions to make sure that everything that I can do gets done. So, so yeah, it's also it's like And it's very interesting because when I get into a place of like I'm in strategy and the thing is coming together and I'm like seeing the plan being laid out, I like get I was gonna say overwhelmed, but really it's exciting. Like I have to like stand up. I'm kind of like pacing the place. I'm like, I'm excited by what I'm seeing. And so it really does inspire me to keep going. And so that's really what I've been doing these last 2 days is just getting really, really crystal clear about the target that I'm aiming for and what it is that I need to do in order to make all the conditions possible. And I have very little outside of myself that I can control, right? But what can I do to really, you know, make everything that I can possible. And so that takes a little bit of work, right? And I want to make sure I'm not stuck in that place of like mapping it out before I get started. So have very clear end dates for like when I'm done mapping, and then very clear dates and activities for action, which they're already happening now. But I'm just naming that like I have to be intentional about pushing myself. Um, the other thing, I feel like I just look so rough this morning. So I'm like also looking at myself, but it is what it is because I was not going to not come on this morning. I wanted to, even if it's brief, it's just like I have set this intention for myself. This is absolutely helpful for me to be able to be on camera, to talk live, to, just express and share my point of view, my perspective. It's very helpful. And I have made a commitment to be consistent in doing that weekly. And so I'm going to keep up with that. So sometimes I won't look like how I want to look like, but that's okay. Um, and so the other thing that I was also thinking about is around like what needs to be released, so that I can really again set the conditions to really make sure that I hit my target. And there's a lot that needs to be released. I was about to drink some water, but I also just like there's a lot that needs to be released because I am, first of all, I've shared that I'm someone who lives so much in my head, right? And I utilize my mind really to be able to help me to serve and support others. So, like, my mind is like the gift that I have to be able to really lean in and live out my purpose. And so I also recognize that like as I am like getting laser focused on this target that I'm aiming for, there are things that I also have to release. One, to make space in my mind and my mental capacity. Two, to also just like help me to again create those conditions for what is needed to actually hit the target. And then also just to make sure that I'm keeping my energy and my physical and mental capacity where it needs to be so that I can wake up and do what needs to be done. And it's really interesting because I have a sweet tooth. I have a very bad sweet tooth. And um, I have to have something sweet every day. And this might be TMI, but I'm going to share it. I felt like I was having like inflammation occurring internally. And I've been feeling like this for a little bit. And it's so interesting because of course, like online, like if you're on social media and everything, everybody's talking about these anti-inflammatory diets, at least in my on my timeline, right? That's what I'm seeing. And I have been thinking about that before I even saw it. Like I had purchased a cookbook from a bookstore. I buy cookbooks every once in a while, don't ever use them, but I had purchased an anti-inflammatory diet cookbook some time ago. And it's I've got it like sitting, I've got it set on my counter, my kitchen counter right now. And it's been like that for a little bit. But anyway, I got to the point where yesterday I was like, let me just take baby steps towards really trying to implement this anti inflammatory diet. And one of the biggest things around it is releasing sugar. I am not an expert. I consult your doctor, talk to them. I'm just giving you a little context around what I'm releasing. One of the things I'm releasing is sugar, um, and I'm one day in. But it's interesting because it's like I literally all like, and I also feel like I'm kind of. I hope I'm not jinxing myself, but whatever. I feel too good. I don't want to go back. Like I felt the difference in a day already with just like not. You probably like, girl, how much sugar you eat? How much sugar were you consuming? Enough, right? Because I just, yeah, I got a sweet tooth, but I did my best yesterday to really avoid any form of processed sugar. And I will say that, like, by the end of the night, like, I felt a difference. I felt a difference even when I was like laying down to go to sleep. It also could, I, I'm sure there are other things that maybe contributed to that as well. But I do feel like releasing the sugar is already, I feel like I'm already feeling a difference, is what I'm saying. And it just like, that would not be something that I would traditionally say I want to release. I feel like ain't nothing wrong with a little sweet treat, every day, as long as, you're mindful of like the how much you're consuming. But it's so interesting that just like in the one day I'm already noticing a difference, and so it's like, okay, what else am I needing to release? I these are I didn't I'm riffing. So I also, yesterday, I worked in mostly silence for the day, meaning like I'm used to just like having something on, like background noise. I'll turn on the TV, or I'll have something playing in the background just so I can have yeah, something in the background, because I'm working from home, and if it's too quiet, then my mind is unsettled. But I literally went the whole day, most of the day, without looking at television, without really getting online and looking at social media. And I found myself just being in a deep flow zone, which was really, really dope, really cool. And I'm just like, I didn't realize till I got towards like the end of the day, like I was fixing dinner, and I was listening to a podcast, and when I'm eating dinner or making dinner, I'll usually turn on the TV. I didn't do that. And so, um, I'm not saying I'm releasing turning on TV every single day, but I will just say, like, by the time I got in the bed, and so that's why I was saying sugar might not have been the only thing. It might have just been like the serene environment that I had unintentionally set for myself, in addition to not consuming sugar. Like, I felt pretty clear going to sleep last night. I also felt good waking up this morning. Like I woke up like feeling energized, and it's been a minute since I have done that. Like I wake up and I'm fine, and for the most part, but like there's like a zing sometimes that I feel, a zing of energy that I feel, and I'm like, ooh, I need more of this as I am building, because it's just like I need to feel good. I need to, I have to have stamina. I need to be able to focus. I need to be able to really lock in on what I'm trying to do, because there are certain targets that I need to be hitting along the way to also, help me make sure I am eventually hitting this end of year goal. So yeah, I was just thinking about the things that you need to release, the things that I need to release in order to really build this business to where I want it to be. And I'm very proud of myself. It's been one day, It's been one day. We're going to go for it again today. But I'm proud of myself. And I'm curious to also just see like the difference that this makes overall for me, physically, spiritually, mentally, but also just in like what I am working on. So yeah, I am curious about like some of the things that you might need to be releasing in order to become who you need to become or be who you need to be in this season while you are working towards whatever goal you have set for yourself. I would love for that to, be a little something we chat about. So meet me in the comments with that. Share if you are so inclined to. But yeah, I am not going to stay on here long because I really do need to get to the things. But I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining. I will check in and chat with you all later. I'll be back tomorrow. And I hope that you have a great rest of the day. Bye.